Today let's learn how to work with individual drafts on handweaving.net. I'm going to show a little bit of searching and maybe coloring some other things, but this video is primarily about how to work with individual drafts once you find one that you're interested in. As a sample, let's work with draft number 53124. So I'll type its number into the search box and then hit the magnifying glass. And there it is. Also, you should know that most of what's shown in this video requires a subscription to handweaving.net. And let's get started. So here's the draft, number 53124. This draft is over 100 years old. It's from Posselt's Textile Journal, a journal that was published in Philadelphia between 1907 and 1915. And let's start with the view menu. So when a draft comes up, the view menu will let you change the tie-up orientation, change the view size, and then sometimes it offers rethreading options also. So let's look at the tie-up option first. By default, the tie-up is shown in the upper right-hand corner, but if you want to put it somewhere else, you can do that by clicking this. And you can put it in any of the four corners. We'll put it back to where it was. And when you move the tie-up around, that setting remains with your account. So if you leave it in the upper right and then you navigate to other drafts on the site, they'll also be shown with the tie-up in the upper right, and you can change that at any time. The view size, the site figures out how big it can make a draft, but sometimes you want to override that. So we can set it to medium, to largest, to large. I'll just leave it at large for now. And then the options to the right, the drafts that we create for handweaving.net are always represented with the smallest number of shafts and treadles possible, and that way most people can weave them. But sometimes that results in threadings that that aren't optimal for certain purposes. So we always give the ability to have a draft become straight threaded if it isn't already, and as you can see here, when I click that, it requires more shafts. You can do the same thing with the treadling if the treadling is not already straight, and that requires more treadles, but it makes a draft that's nice to weave and easy to weave if you have a loom that can do it. Some drafts can be converted, like this one, to have a point threading or a point treadling. Not all drafts can do that, but if a draft can, then that option's present. So we'll do a point threading here so you can see what that looks like, and a point treadling. The advantage to having straight and point threadings and treadlings is that the drafts can be easier to weave, and also if you want to put a warp on the loom and use it for more than one different project or draft, the threadings can often be compatible with more different other drafts. We offer the ability to have a draft turn to. That actually rotates the tie-up and it interchanges the threading and the treadling. We offer that for all drafts. And for people weaving on a loom that doesn't actually use a tie-up, like a Dobby loom or a table loom, we have a lift plan option. So if you click that, the tie-up goes away, and in place of the treadling, the lift plan's shown. And for each of the picks in the pattern, this shows the shafts that you would need to raise to weave it. So that's that. That's the view menu. Let's look at the actions menu. Each of these menus toggles too, by the way. You can click it to open it, you click the button, and then you click it again to close it. So Actions has a download option. If you want to load the pattern into your own weaving software, you can click that, and it will let you save it either as a standard WIF or as a lift plan WIF. If you're not sure which one you need, it's probably standard, so click that. And then depending on which browser and which type of computer you have, it may ask you where to save it, or it may just save it. I have it set up to ask, but so that's how that works. Add to board. This one lets you create, either add it to a clipboard, or you can create your own boards that other people can see too. And a board is just a grouping of drafts. So I can add it to my clipboard, and then if I do that, I can find it later, and it'll tell me that it's been done. I can also create custom boards. So let's say I wanted a board where I was going to put all the drafts that are used as samples in these videos. I could make one. Let's actually show how to do that. I'll click the drafts menu, I'll click your drafts, and then I'll click boards, and then I'll add a new one. And these are all the boards that I've made in the past. I've got two here, and I'll add a third one today. We'll call it maybe just video samples. There. So now that I've added it, I can click the back button to go back to the draft I was on. Open up Actions again, choose Add to Board, and there it is. So now I can add this one to the video samples board. And it will let me view the board now if I want to, but I'm not going to do that right now. So these next three buttons, Previous, Next, and Collection, every draft on the site is part of some collection. This one happens to be part of the collection for Possalt's Textile Journal, and if I click the Collection button, it will open that entire collection to the page that contains this particular draft. So let me go back. And similarly, this Previous and the Next button, this will load the previous or next draft in that collection without leaving this page. So if I click Next, there's the next one. If I click Previous, it'll go back to the one we were on. If I click it again, it'll go back to the one before it, etc. So this next button, same threading. This is also pretty interesting. It let's say you want to put a warp on your loom and you want to weave more than one draft and you don't want to have to warp again in between. This button will show you all the drafts on the site that have the same threading as the one you're looking at, which is right here. Or they can have the same treadling because you can turn the draft, which makes it the threading. So if you click that, it will show you all the ones on the site. And here, so this is a list of everything you could weave if you wanted to warp once and not warp again and use the same warp. So let's pick this one. You can see you could get some pretty interesting designs doing that and save a lot of work. So let's go back. And this button here will let you open our color editor to color drafts. Now we have a separate video that shows how to do that. I'll show it briefly today, but if you want to learn that in depth, then find that video and watch it. So this will open the draft for coloring. Now I'm going to change the colors just quickly so you can see how that works. We'll choose white here, and maybe I'll color, I don't know, color those cells white. Color those threads white. Do a few more there. And now I'll choose green, and maybe I'll do those. And those. And those. There. Now I could actually download this draft with those colors and work with it more. Like I said, we have a separate video, so go find that if you're interested in coloring. Okay, I think that's everything under Actions. Yep. So now let's look at tags. Tags are text that you can assign to a draft or labels to help someone else find it. So they can be things like descriptions of a weaving structure or descriptions of how the draft looks, something visual within it. Like when I look at this draft, I see a whole bunch of squares. I see a little square there, another one enclosing that, and a bigger one enclosing that. So I think I'm going to assign a tag called squares to this draft, and then when someone looks in our tag section under squares, it'll come up. So to assign a tag, you just start typing the name, and if you pause for a second, it will show you all of the tags on the site where someone else has already entered that name. And if you can find one that matches the one that you're typing, you should choose that instead of entering a different one, because it'll help group these and help more people to find the draft. So in this case, the tag squares is already there, so I will choose that, and then I'll hit the add tag button, and now this tag this tag squares has been assigned to this draft. Okay. Comments will let you add comments to a draft. You can add things like notes about weaving it. This works well with Tencel. It could be anything, but comments are public. Other people can see them, and they become part of the drafts record when you add them. And then there are just two more things I want to show in this video. One of them is the share button. Let's say you find a draft you really like and you want to just email it to somebody or send it to someone. You can hit share, and it will copy a link to this page, and then you can paste that into an email or onto a website to share the draft with others. And lastly, we have a feature called like. So if you like the draft, it will just color this blue to show that you've liked it, and that helps other people find it. So if I go to the searching page, which is drafts, search for drafts. Most liked drafts. This brings up the drafts that most people have liked. And also I'll show the tags feature here. If I go back to drafts, search by tag, it lists all the tags that have been assigned. And if we go down and find squares, which is the one that I just assigned right here, and click it, here are all the drafts that have the tag squares. And there's the one that I assigned right there. So you can see how that will help other people find it. Okay, that's all we have for our video today. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something.